Welcome, everyone. Ready to dive deep into intention? We're cracking open Chapter 7, Intention, from this book on transurfing, and honestly, it's mind-blowing stuff. Get ready to see how your thoughts, especially intention, might be shaping your life more than you'd think.
You know, it's wild how this chapter starts with dreams, such a familiar thing, yet so mysterious, right?
Totally. I mean, haven't we all woken up from a dream like, wait, was that real? It's like anything goes in that dream state.
And that's the key. That limitless possibility is how transurfing sees intention. It talks about this alternative space, a realm of infinite possibilities our soul interacts with, especially when we're dreaming.
So it's not just random thoughts jumbled up. Dreams are like peeking into all these potential realities.
Exactly. And get this, little kids, they barely see a difference between dreams and being awake. They haven't learned to separate the two yet.
Oh, so true. Like, my nephew swore he saw a flying dog in his dream. 100% believed it.
That's it. And the book's saying maybe growing up makes us lose that natural ability to blur those lines between what's real and what's in our minds.
So how do we get back to that childlike anything is possible feeling?
There's this simple but powerful trick the book gives. Ask yourself throughout the day, is this real? Sounds basic, but it actually makes you more aware, more open to those subtle hints from the alternative space.
Wow, so it's like planting a seed of doubt. Questioning what we think is real.
You got it. It's like making a crack in that wall of our reality so we can see what's beyond.
But here's where it gets interesting. The book warns about just wandering into the alternative space, especially while lucid dreaming.
Oh, wait, is that? I thought lucid dreaming was all about having fun going wild with your imagination.
It can be, for sure. But there are risks if you stumble into a part of the alternative space that's already, like, physically real. Imagine accidentally walking onto someone else's reality or bumping into a situation that's not meant for you.
Okay, that's a bit creepy. Like walking onto a movie set and not realizing it's fake.
Exactly. That's why intention is so important when you're navigating the alternative space. It's not just about knowing it's there, it's about having a purpose, a destination in mind. So you're not just watching different realities, you're choosing the one you want.
Right. But then how does that work in everyday life when we're not lucid dreaming all the time? That's where the book's take on intention really shines. It draws this clear line between desire and intention, using a simple example, raising your hand. Desire is wanting to raise it, but intention is the force that actually makes it happen.
Oh, I see. So it's more than just wishing and hoping. It's about taking action.
Yeah, exactly. But then if intention is so powerful, why don't we always get what we want? It's a question we all struggle with.
For sure. It feels like there's a missing piece there.
Well, the book goes into this idea of outer intention. It's different from inner intention, where you're trying to force things to happen with willpower, like moving a pencil with your mind. Outer intention is more about aligning yourself with a reality where what you want already exists.
So not changing the world directly, but choosing a different version of reality where you already have what you want.
Exactly. Like you're not bending the universe to your will. You're picking the reality that's already flowing in the direction you want to go.
I'm starting to see how this ties back to lucid dreaming. It's all about navigating possibilities, making choices instead of just reacting.
That's a great point. And that's what we'll be getting into next.
Can't wait. This is already making me think differently.
It's amazing how much this idea of outer intention already affects us even when we don't realize it.
It is kind of a shift, right? Usually it's all about hustling and making things happen. But this book is saying maybe there's a more, I don't know, subtle way to go about it. Like aligning with the reality you want instead of forcing it.
Right. That's a huge point in the chapter. The author's really questioning that whole it's all about your actions thing. He says our actions actually come from a deeper place, from our attitude towards what we want. It's not just thinking about it. It's about this thing he calls intention, which he says is like resoluteness in the decision to have and to act. So it's both things together.
Oh, I see. So it's like that unwavering commitment, not just daydreaming, but actually deciding you'll have it and act on it. But does that mean you don't have to put in any effort? Does it just magically happen?
Not quite. It's not about being passive, but more about shifting your focus. The book says that when we dwell on desire, it creates this like excess potential, almost like an energetic resistance. Like when you hold on to something too tightly, you end up pushing it away.
Oh, that makes sense. Like when you're so focused on a goal, working so hard, but it feels like you're hitting wall after wall. It's so draining.
Exactly, because when we're coming from that place of intense desire, we create that excess potential.
Yeah.
It's like forcing something that doesn't fit. We get fixated on the goal instead of letting things unfold naturally.
So if clinging to desire is actually working against us, what's the alternative? How we loosen that grip?
The book suggests that instead of pleading or demanding, we should align ourselves with a reality where what we want is already true. So it's more about choosing, not requesting, if that makes sense.
It sounds like you need a lot of faith to do that. How can you choose a reality you can't even see or experience yet?
That's where outer intention comes in. Remember that example in the book about the fly escaping through the open window? It's about seeing the options that are already there instead of focusing on what seems impossible.
Right, okay. So it's about trusting that the path will appear, even if you can't see it right now. But what if you're in a situation where it seems like there are no open windows?
The book says that even in those seemingly impossible situations, there's always a way. It encourages us to think circumstances are such that, instead of saying, I insist that. It's a tiny change in words, but it can make a big difference in what happens.
So it's like letting go of the need to control every little thing and being open to unexpected solutions.
You got it. And this brings us back to that idea of reducing importance. The more we cling to a specific outcome, the more resistance we create. It's like trying to make a river flow uphill.
That's such a good analogy. It's about surrendering to the flow, trusting that the universe has a plan even if we don't see it yet.
Absolutely. And that trust isn't just blind faith. It's about aligning yourself with the principles of outer intention and letting them work their magic.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it, but it still feels kind of mysterious. Is there anything we can actually do to develop that ability to choose our reality?
Well, the book doesn't give you a set of rules, but it encourages you to experiment and see what works for you. It emphasizes the importance of awareness, stepping back from all the drama in your life and just observing what's going on, noticing your thoughts, your emotions, your actions without judging them.
So being more mindful, more present in each moment. But what about all those negative thoughts and doubts that pop up? How do we deal with those?
The book says those negative thoughts are just part of being human. It suggests that instead of fighting them or trying to push them down, we just acknowledge them and gently shift our focus back to what we want.
It's like saying, hey, I see you, negative thought, but I'm choosing to focus on something more positive. But how do you actually make that choice when the doubts feel so strong?
That's where self-love and acceptance come in. The author says that when we're kind to ourselves and accept ourselves, it creates a better environment for our desires to manifest. It's about knowing you're worthy and trusting yourself to create the reality you want.
Okay, now I see how all of this connects. It's about having that mindset of awareness, trust, and self-love. But how does this actually translate into making your desires happen in real life?
That's a really good question, and it's something we'll be talking more about as we continue our deep dive into intention. It's about moving from the theoretical to the practical and exploring how we can use these principles to create real and lasting change in our lives.
Okay, I'm ready to hear more about that. I feel like we're just scratching the surface of this whole intention thing, and there's so much more to discover. We're back and ready to really get into how to use this intention stuff. This chapter has really made me think differently about how we create our own reality.
Yeah, it really does make you see things from a new angle. Instead of feeling like we're just, victims of whatever happens, it's like we can actually become conscious creators.
Exactly. But I think what everyone's wondering, myself included, is how do we actually use this in our lives? It's one thing to understand the theory, but how do we put it into practice?
The book admits that outer intention is kind of a subtle force. There's no magic formula that works for everyone.
So it's more about each person becoming like their own intention scientist.
Yeah.
Figuring out what works best for them.
Exactly. But there are some guidelines we can use to start experimenting. We've talked about awareness, reducing importance, self-love. But the chapter also talks about how important it is to have clarity of intention.
So not just some vague wish, but really knowing exactly what you want to create in your life.
Right. And it goes deeper than just the surface level. It's about understanding the why behind your desires. Like, why do you want this specific thing? How will it make your life better? What values does it represent?
It's like you're digging down to find the real heart of what you want, making sure it lines up with who you really are.
Exactly. And once you have that clarity, you can start taking action that aligns with it. Remember, outer intention isn't about just sitting back and waiting for things to happen. It's about taking inspired action, following your intuition, and moving towards your goals.
So trusting that gut feeling, even if it doesn't make sense logically.
Yeah. And as you take those actions, it's important to trust the process. The author talks about surrendering to something bigger than ourselves, to that flow of energy that's always working for our good.
It's about having faith that the universe is supporting you, even when you can't see the whole picture yet.
Exactly. And that faith isn't just blind belief, it's this deep knowing that you're being guided and supported on your journey. And as you build that trust, you'll start to see things fall into place effortlessly, like there's some unseen hand orchestrating it all.
It's like we're dancing with the universe, moving together in this rhythm of life.
I love that analogy. And that dance is all about self-discovery, growth, and opening yourself up to endless possibilities.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the power of intention. We've covered a lot, from how dreams and reality are connected to how our thoughts can shape what we experience.
We've looked at some key principles for working with both inner and outer intention, like becoming more aware, letting go of the need to control everything, accepting the possibility of things not going as planned, and trusting the universe.
But remember, this is just the beginning. The real magic starts when you take these ideas and use them in your own life.
So as you go about your day, ask yourself, what reality am I choosing? Am I in tune with my deepest desires? Am I trusting the flow of life?
Keep those guardian eyes open, stay curious, and keep exploring how your thoughts and the world around you are connected. Until next time.